Hello, you awesome individuals! For the longest time ever, a lot of you guys have still been wondering, how do I get that many stacks on Nasus? In fact, I realize a lot of you guys have probably never seen another Nasus with over 500 stacks before. Well, I have played over 500 games with Nasus with a pretty decent win rate last season. Welcome to my ultimate Nasus guide. Before we start, as a reminder, I'm not making a 100% crit ADC Nasus, push lane, or AP Nasus support guide. This guide will be focusing on regular Nasus and how he was meant to be played. Here's a warning to everyone, Nasus is a very boring character. Let's get started. This is very crucial. You can skip the rest of this guide if you really want to, but do not skip this part. For runes and masteries, you are going to need 8 attack damage marks, 9 health seals, 9 cooldown, and 3 cooldown quints for a total of 15% cooldown and 1% crit for good luck. The reason why I run health seals instead of getting armor and magic resist is because getting more health is always good and it works against everyone. That way I don't need another separate dedicated rune page for Nasus. Alternatively, you can get 10% cooldown instead of with 15%, so you can get extra health or armor if you think you're too squishy. For masteries, I go 0, 18, and 12. I get Storm Raider Surge because it helps me catch up to people faster, and Perseverance to help sustain. Most importantly, you need to get Intelligence. With that mastery combined with the runes, you will get 20% cooldown at start, and that will help you a lot getting your stacks. For items, I start off with a mana crystal and a refillable potion. Next, I turn that mana crystal into a sheen, which will give you another 10% cooldown, and I teleport back into base right away when I get it. Remember that I told you guys not to skip this part? So if you have done everything correctly, on your first back you will have 30% cooldown already just with Sheen, that one item. After I get Sheen, I turn Sheen into Triforce, which will give me 40% cooldown. If you're having trouble getting Triforce, you can also get Phage that turns into Triforce or Delay Triforce, and get Kindle or a Cloth Armor that will also give you another 10% cooldown. So you have 40% cooldown. You can get Stinger if you really want, but I don't recommend it. That only works if your opponent is really bad. Triforce will be the core of your build, that is the most important. Ideally, you want to max out your cooldown to 40% by the time you finish maxing Q on Nasus. In theory, this build lets you get more cooldown faster, which means you get more stacks in CS. In return, you get more damage and a bonus Triforce damage buff, which means you can spend less time being a pushover so you can start carrying the game faster. Basically, I'm gambling. I'm sacrificing my early game tankiness and betting that my opponent sucks and they can't knock me out of lane. Once you finish Triforce, you can get Kindle to max out your cooldown to 45%, and here comes the complicated part. The next following items you build depends on the game. To give you a general idea, I usually get Warmogs or Deadman's Plate, then build ZZ Rod or Guardian's Angel after. So your ideal build should look something like this. Triforce into Boots, into Warmogs, ZZ Rod, and Guardian Angel. Now I'm gonna start explaining why I get the items I get. You can skip ahead if you want. Warmogs. We get Warmogs even though I won't be able to use a Warmogs passive right away. Health is always helpful and it gives me time to figure out what I need. If the AP carrier on their team is fed, having lots of health makes it really difficult for them to burst you down. If their AD carry is fed, a lot of times they don't have something like Blade of the Rune King to take you down yet, and you can kill them in 2 shots most of the time. ZZ Rod. ZZ Rod is an amazing item. What this does is that it lets you push 2 lanes at the same time. Guardian Angel. Guardian Angel lets you pretend to be God, kind of. Against a CC heavy team, Deadman's Plate is really helpful. It lets you run into the backline easier. Banshee. Banshee blocks a spell if someone tries to stun you. Rylai's. I don't usually get Rylai's, but in some situations you need it if you have to provide TC for a team. Using Rylai's with E Spiritfire can slow everyone down so your team can catch up or run away. which is really useful if you're trying to keep your ADC alive. Doormail isn't a CC item, but sometimes you can get free kills from it when you can't reach their back line. Mana, because you're not building Frozen Heart, if you need mana, you can buy a Fairy Charm. It's cheap and you don't lose much from it. Even if you do resell it, you only lose 37 gold. Items I rarely get. Everyone else builds Frozen Heart and Spirit Visage, but with my build, these two items are necessary. I'm not saying these two items are bad. Frozen Heart paired up with Doormail is amazing against someone ridiculously fed like Master Yi or Vayne. Spirit Visage is especially good against a Teemo or Vladimir in lane, when you can just stand there and take free hits, then regain your health with 1 Q stack. Not only that, Frozen Heart and Spirit Visage gives you cooldown. The thing is, with my build, you already have max cooldown, and those items are very niche. You need to buy them together or it doesn't work. For example, Frozen Heart alone doesn't give you enough health when someone bursts you down with magic damage. And when you buy these two items together in replace of Triforce, you won't be able to get that extra bonus damage from the early Triforce. This build is meant to skip those items so you can start doing things based on the assumption that you have to carry your team. That's what the ZZ Rod is for. If you really want or need to, you can buy Spirit Visage in replace of Warmogs. But in most cases, why would you want to get a Frozen Heart when you can get Dead Man's Plate with Triforce and start smashing stuff faster? The last item I never get is Iceborne Gauntlet. The reason is, 1, the area effect makes it harder to stack, and 2, it does less damage than a Triforce, which doesn't work with this guide. Spells and abilities. For spells, all you need to do is Q, 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 Q. You want to max your Q first. W second and E third. Laning and team fights. All you do is spam Q on minions and play Farmville mindlessly for 20 minutes. The end. Well, I told you guys he was a boring character. Tomatoes.
Do not try my patience.
Just kidding. Anyways, in lane, what you really want to do is farm until you get Sheen and 200 stacks. Once you got that, you can start fighting and trading with the enemy if you really want, or keep farming. I highly suggest that you keep farming as much as possible because after 20 minutes, you have to stop. Any kills that you get are just bonuses to help you get Triforce faster. The trick is this. You want to freeze your lane near your tower forever because 1, this allows you to farm. 2, if they try to dive you, they will take tower shots and you can flash around your tower while they die. 3, this makes it harder for people to gank you since they always come top. In many cases, your enemy may think that they're winning because they push you up near tower, but in reality, they're not. As long as you get your stacks, that is. At the beginning, you will lose some stacks regardless because you don't have max cooldown yet. But don't worry, just last hit as many minions as you can. It's okay to lose a few, which means the only way to get perfect 600 stacks at 20 minutes is if you steal your jungler's farm, and you don't want to do that. Here's a timeline to help you keep track of where you are. Your goal is an average of 400 stacks at 20 minutes. At 10 minutes, you should have at least 100 stacks, 200 if you're doing really well, or if the other guy is really bad. 20 minutes, you should have at least 300 stacks. If you don't get at least 300 stacks by this time, then it means you're doing really poorly, or you're having a really bad time and you won't make it to 400 stacks in time. 20 minutes, in your last 5 minutes of farming, you should be able to get around 400 stacks. If you get 300 stacks at this point, then you did really bad or you were against a really bad matchup. 400 is average, which means you did good. That's good enough. Getting 500 stacks and above means you're doing really good or they're just really bad. Matchup. In some cases, depending on the matchup, it's not possible to get those stacks or win your lane. For example, when you go up against a Teemo or a Vayne who's really annoying, all you need to do is put 3 points in E and spam E on the minions and the enemy to farm, harass at the same time, then buy Doran's Ring or 2 to 3 Fairy Charms for mana regen, depending on how much you need. In this specific scenario, it's not really possible to to get that many stacks against someone with a lot of poke. In other cases, someone like Ilaoi is really annoying like a Teemo, but the difference is you can easily get 500 stacks by stacking her tentacles. However, the problem is Ilaoi will push the lane non-stop and you will lose tower. There isn't really much you can do about this unless you get help, or if they're really bad enough that you can dodge all their tentacles and flash out. Against someone like the Yasuo is also really annoying, but you have a secret weapon. Your E Spirit Fire burns through his shield easily, so if he forces you to fight, land your E and then kill him to force him to retreat. I can go on and on about all the different matchups, whether it is a Gnar with a frozen mallet that can smash you into a wall, or Yorick with a stupid cage. In general, Nasus has trouble against people with high poke, DC, and stun. In the end, stacking isn't everything. 20 minutes in at this point, you need to start taking towers. Look around the map and see where your team is at. If your team lost all their towers, it means everyone is going to come top lane and attack you. If they're busy fighting each other, it means you need to take down all the towers in your lane as fast as possible. Use your teleport to take down towers in other lanes if you have to. At this point, you have to make a decision. Do I need to get a ZZ Rod and push 2 lanes at the same time? If you don't need to get a ZZ Rod, then get a Doormail, Deadman's Plate, Banshee, Guardian Angel, or whatever you think is best for 1v1 dueling, or tanking for your team. If your team never pushes any lanes and they refuse to do anything but sit in their base and complain about nonsense, then yes, you need to get a ZZ Rod. You're all alone on this one and grouping with your team doesn't help. Backdoor if you have to, it doesn't matter if you die as long as you take down the tower and inhibitor, because in solo queue, your team isn't going to do anything anyway but complain and be toxic. You can sit there and farm all game long and get 1,000 stacks at 30 minutes if you want to. I've done it before, so I know it's possible. But you will lose the game if you do that. Nasus is no longer a late game champion anymore. If you paid attention to the meta and what's been happening around you, he is a mid game champion now. Just because you can get 1,000,000 stacks doesn't mean you win.
Nasus is free win. Lol. It's Susan. That's the point.
You wanna know why? All the enemy team needs to do is stun you for 5 seconds and take turns bitch slapping you into the face while your own teammates watches you die and say report feeder.
I didn't do anything stupid. Just my job.
Wait, don't leave yet. Well, if you guys have made it this far, you guys get to watch this cute dog get a massage. If this guide helped you a lot or you like this kind of video, give me a like and leave me a comment down below. This kind of video takes a lot of planning and time to make. It takes me about 2 weeks to make something like this. So it would be nice to know that people actually enjoy or want this type of content. See you guys later.